Welcome in Western Slope. It is a sensational Sunday evening. I'm Josephine Sage. Let's jump right into the forecast. As we take a look at those weather headlines, we're going to notice that high pressure system is centering itself right over the state of Colorado. And with that comes dry air. And we were even looking at it earlier today and yesterday with those warmer temperatures and lots of sunshine compared to even what we were feeling last week. Minimal cloud coverage as we jump into the early work week, which as a matter of fact is actually going to start to have that warm up into those mid-80s with, of course, that sunshine. And if you haven't made plans to get out and about, I would definitely try and make some because that summer season, like I said, is coming to a close very, very soon. And well, try and get out and enjoy these mid-80s while they're hanging out because that cool down is just around the corner. As a matter of fact, if you hadn't heard, some of those higher elevation areas closer to that tree line, above that 14,000 foot line, have even received the first snow of the season. So we're not that far away from getting those temperatures that are feeling cooler and that chance for some slush, some hail, some snow. Now, as we take a look at the almanac, we're going to notice we're right around those seasonal averages on that high and low end of things. Earlier today, feeling 82 for that afternoon temperature instead of that typical 81. And on that low end of things tonight, we're going to get down to 51 instead of that typical 52. And like I said, those cooler temperatures are just around the corner. We're going to notice 32 degrees was that record low back in 1961. And depending on how our weather patterns go, we could be jumping down into those cooler temperatures in those 40s and those 30s any day now. Now, as we take a look a little bit more nationally, this is that high pressure ridge I just mentioned that's going to start to amplify over the western slope, over Colorado as a whole, to get us in that dark orange, that dark yellow area, to give us some of those warmer temperatures, like I mentioned, in those mid-80s. Now, off the west coast, we do have that slight chance for, well, some possible moisture later this week, but it's just possible because that little low pressure could actually be having more of a southern flow compared to what we're looking at now. This high pressure ridge could be amplified essentially for the long run to keep that sunshine and that dry air sticking around for the western slope. Now, our pollen forecast from the Allergy and Asthma Center of Western Colorado hasn't really shifted too much. We're looking at low tree, low grass pollen. Tree pollen season actually came to a close a couple weeks ago. We still have that chance for some grasses pollens to appear throughout the rest of the month of September, but we have an excessive amount of weed pollen and some low mold pollen. So those irritations are still definitely prominent, especially for that weed pollen, so keep that in mind. And our autumn countdown, folks, is 6 days away. It's next Saturday. Well, this Saturday, since it's Sunday, it's just a couple days away. And if you haven't made plans to kind of enjoy those fall colors, try and make some because they're just around the corner, especially in those higher elevation areas. Those peak colors are going to start to happen that last week of September and the first week of October. So areas Steamboat, Vail, Aspen, Crested Butte, Telluride, and even the Grand Mesa has those colors just around the corner. Now, that extended forecast is going to show us hanging out in those mid-80s for the long run, even into that early work week. And Montrose is just a few degrees cooler, of course, hanging out in those upper 70s and actually jumping down into that 40-degree temperature for those evening hours. So I know I said it earlier, I've said it like 3 or 4 times. If you have not made plans to get outside and enjoy this last bit of warm temperatures, this last bit of sunshine, definitely try and make some.